Every year, after 50, your body starts choosing what it keeps and what it lets go. And if you're not careful, the things it drops first are exactly what you need most. Balance vanishes before you notice. Muscle melts away while you sleep. Your hips lock up and your knees creak, and suddenly the stairs feel like a negotiation instead of a routine. But here's what they don't talk about in the waiting rooms and wellness magazines. There's a group of people who seem to have cracked the code on moving through their 70s and 80s with strength. Most of us lose by 60. Japanese elders have some of the longest healthy lifespans on the planet, and it's not just diet or genetics. It's 6 specific movements they do almost every single day. Movements so simple you can start them in the next 10 minutes without changing your clothes or clearing space in your living room. Now, before we walk through all 6, let me set something up. Number 2 on this list is going to surprise you because it's something you probably stopped doing around age 12 and never thought about again. But number 1, the movement that ties everything together, is so short and so quiet that most people skip right past it. And that's the biggest mistake because it's the one that rewires your nervous system to protect you from falls and keeps your brain sharp when everything else starts to fade. I'm going to show you exactly how to do each of these movements, why they matter more after 50, and how to stack them into your day so they become automatic. And here's the thing, you don't need to be flexible or strong to start. You just need to be willing to move a little differently than you have been. Let me ask you something right now, and I want you to drop it in the comments. How old are you, and where are you watching this from? I'm curious who's here and what part of the world you're in, because these movements work no matter where you live or what shape you think you're in. All right, let's start with movement number 6, and this one is called radio taiso, which translates to radio calisthenics. Every morning across Japan, parks and community centers fill up with people in their 60s, 70s, even their 90s, doing a 10-minute routine of arm circles, torso twists, and gentle jumps, all set to music that's been broadcast since the 1920s. It looks almost childlike, and that's exactly the point. These aren't hard movements. They're designed to wake up every joint in your body without strain, and the rhythm keeps you moving even when your brain wants to quit. After 50, your joints start losing synovial fluid, the slick substance that keeps cartilage from grinding bone on bone. Movement is what pumps that fluid back in. Think of it like oil for a hinge. If the hinge sits still too long, it rusts. If you move it gently every day, it stays smooth. Research from institutions studying aging populations has shown that people who do short, daily full-body movement routines maintain better joint health and experience fewer falls compared to those who exercise sporadically or not at all. The key isn't intensity, it's consistency. Your body doesn't care if you lift heavy weights twice a week if you sit frozen the other 5 days. It wants a signal every single morning that says we're still moving, we're still here, don't shut anything down yet. I worked with a woman named Linda, 72, former school librarian, who came to me because her shoulders had frozen up so badly she couldn't reach the top shelf in her kitchen anymore. She'd tried physical therapy, but the exercises felt like homework and she kept skipping them. I showed her a 3-minute version of radio taiso, just arm swings and gentle twists, and told her to do it every morning while her coffee brewed. 2 weeks later, she called me laughing because she'd grabbed a mug off the top shelf without thinking about it, and only realized halfway through pouring that her shoulder hadn't hurt at all. Here's how you do it. Stand with your feet hip-width apart. Swing your arms forward and back, loosely, like you're trying to shake water off your hands. Do that 10 times. Then reach your arms overhead, stretching tall, and bring them down in a big circle, 5 times each direction. Next, twist your torso left and right, letting your arms swing naturally, 20 times total. Finish with a few gentle knee lifts, just bringing one knee up toward your chest and then the other, 10 on each side. The whole thing takes less than 5 minutes. You can do it in your pajamas. You can do it while you wait for the kettle to boil. The magic is doing it every single day, not doing it perfectly. Now, here's the thing that makes radio taiso smarter than most Western exercise routines. It's social. In Japan, people do it together, which means there's a built-in accountability and a rhythm you can't fake. If you can find a video online or a local group that does something similar, join it. If not, put on a song you like that's about 3 minutes long and move through the sequence I just gave you. The music tells your brain this is a ritual, not a chore, and rituals stick better than discipline ever will. But here's the kicker. Radio Taiso is just the warm-up. It gets your joints moving, but it doesn't build the one thing that determines whether you stay independent or not. And that's what movement number 5 is all about. Movement number 5 is called Momo Age, or high knee marching, and Japanese elders treat it like medicine. You've probably seen people march in place during exercise classes and thought it looked too simple to matter. But after 50, the hip flexors, the muscles that lift your knee toward your chest, start to weaken faster than almost any other muscle group. When those go, your gait shortens. You start shuffling. You can't lift your foot high enough to clear a curb or a rug edge, and that's when falls happen. A fall after 60 isn't just an inconvenience. It's often the event that starts a cascade of decline, from fracture to hospital, to loss of mobility, to loss of independence. Some analyses suggest that improving hip flexor strength and gait mechanics can reduce fall risk significantly in older adults. The problem is most people never think about their hip flexors until they're already weak. They focus on their legs, their core, their arms, but the hips are what connect it all. If you can't lift your knee, you can't climb stairs safely. You can't step over obstacles. You can't recover your balance when you stumble. I met a man named Robert, 68, retired electrician, who tripped over his grandson's toy truck in the hallway and went down hard. Fractured his wrist, bruised his ribs, spent 3 days in the hospital. When he got home, he was terrified to walk anywhere without holding on to furniture. I had him start doing high knee marches every morning, just 20 steps in place, focusing on lifting his knee as high as he comfortably could. Within 2 weeks, he told me he felt more stable. Within a month, he was walking outside again without fear. Here's the protocol. Stand next to a counter or a wall so you can steady yourself if you need to. Lift your right knee up toward your chest as high as you can without leaning back. Hold it for 1 second. Lower it slowly. Now do the same with your left knee. That's 1 rep. Do 10 reps, which is 20 knee lifts total. If that feels easy, add another set later in the day. If it feels hard, just do 5 reps and build up. The key is control. Don't jerk your knee up. Lift it deliberately, like you're showing your body how to move again. As you get stronger, you can march around your house instead of standing in place. Walk down the hallway lifting your knees high, and you'll start to feel your hips wake up. You can do this while you're on the phone. You can do it during commercial breaks. It doesn't have to be a big production. It just has to happen every day. Now here's where it gets interesting. Momo Age strengthens your hips, but it also trains something deeper. It teaches your brain to fire the right muscles in the right sequence, which is what we lose as we age. Your nervous system gets lazy. It stops recruiting muscle fibers it doesn't think you need anymore. High knee marching wakes those fibers back up and reminds your brain that, yes, we still need this. Don't let it go. But strong hips alone won't save you if your ankles are stiff. And that brings us to movement number 4. The one that might feel awkward at first but changes everything about how you walk. Movement number 4 is called Tsumasaki Aruki, or toe walking. Japanese elders do this one around the house, usually while they're moving from room to room. You simply rise up onto the balls of your feet and walk forward slowly, keeping your heels off the ground. It looks a little silly. It feels unstable at first. But here's why it matters. Your ankles are the shock absorbers for every step you take. When they stiffen up, which they do after years of sitting or wearing shoes that don't flex, your knees and hips have to absorb all the impact instead. That accelerates arthritis, throws off your balance, and makes every walk feel harder than it should. Research from centers studying biomechanics has found that maintaining ankle mobility and calf strength is strongly associated with better balance and lower fall rates in older adults. Toe walking forces your calves to engage, and your calves are the muscles that stabilize your ankle joint. When your calves are strong, your ankles stay mobile. When they're weak, your ankles freeze up and your balance goes with them. I worked with a woman named Diane, 70, former nurse, who kept rolling her ankle on uneven pavement. She'd sprained it twice in 1 year and was scared to walk anywhere that wasn't perfectly flat. I had her practice toe walking for 30 seconds at a time, 3 times a day, just from the kitchen to the living room and back. At first, she had to hold on to the wall the whole way, but within 3 weeks, she could walk 10 steps without touching anything, and her ankles felt more stable than they had in years. The sprain stopped. Here's how to do it safely. Start near a wall or a counter so you can grab it if you lose your balance. Rise up onto the balls of your feet, keeping your heels about an inch off the ground. Don't go all the way up onto your tiptoes like a ballerina. Just lift your heels enough to feel your calves engage. Now take small, slow steps forward. Walk 5 steps, then lower your heels and rest. Do that 3 times. If 5 steps feels too hard, do 3. If it feels easy, walk a little longer. The goal is control, not distance. As you get stronger, you can add this into your daily routine. Walk to the bathroom on your toes. Walk from the car to the front door on your toes. Make it a game. The more you do it, the more your ankles will remember how to flex and stabilize, and the steadier you'll feel on any surface. Now here's the part that surprises people. Toe walking doesn't just strengthen your calves and ankles. It also retrains your proprioception, which is your body's sense of where it is in space. After 50, proprioception fades. Your brain gets less feedback from your feet and ankles, so it doesn't know where you are until it's too late to catch yourself. Toe walking forces you to pay attention, to feel every shift in weight, and that awareness is what keeps you upright when the ground changes under you. But even strong ankles won't help you if your spine is locked, and that's what movement number 3 addresses. Movement number 3 is called Koshi no Hineri, or torso rotation, and it's one of the simplest movements you'll ever do, and one of the most important. You sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. Place your hands on your knees and twist your upper body to look behind you, first to the right, then to the left. That's it. But here's what's happening. Every time you twist, you're moving the small facet joints in your spine, the ones that let you turn and bend and reach. After 50, those joints start to freeze if you don't use them. Your spine becomes a rigid column instead of a flexible stack, and that's when back pain shows up, and when you lose the ability to look over your shoulder while driving, or reach for something behind you without wincing. Studies on spinal health in aging. Populations suggest that maintaining rotational mobility can help prevent chronic back pain and improve functional independence. Most back pain after 60 isn't from a herniated disc or a serious injury. It's from stiffness. Your muscles tighten to protect joints that don't move well anymore, and that tightness becomes pain. The fix isn't painkillers or surgery. It's movement, gentle and daily. I met a man named George, 74, retired accountant, who couldn't turn his head far enough to check his blind spot when driving. He'd been backing into things, cutting people off, and his family was getting nervous. His doctor told him it was just aging, but I knew better. I had him do torso rotations every morning and evening, 10 twists in each direction, slow and controlled. Within a week, he could turn his head farther. Within 3 weeks, he passed a driving test his family made him take, and he cried because he thought he was going to lose his license. Here's the protocol. Sit in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, about hip-width apart. Sit tall, like there's a string pulling the top of your head toward the ceiling. Place your right hand on your left knee and your left hand on the back of the chair. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, gently twist your torso to the left, looking over your left shoulder. Hold for 3 seconds. Breathe in as you come back to center. Now do the same thing to the right, left hand on right knee, right hand on the back of the chair, twisting to the right. Do 5 twists on each side. Don't force it. Let your breath lead the movement. If it feels tight, that's normal. Just go to the edge of the tightness and stop. Over time, that edge will move. You can do this in your kitchen chair, in your office chair, in the car before you drive. It takes less than 2 minutes. Some people like to do it while they drink their morning coffee. Some do it before bed. The timing doesn't matter. The repetition does. Now, here's what most people miss about torso rotation. It's not just about your spine. It's about your ribs. Every time you twist, your ribs move relative to your spine, and that movement keeps the muscles between your ribs flexible. Those muscles are part of how you breathe. When they tighten, your breath gets shallow, and shallow breathing feeds anxiety, fatigue, and even poor sleep. So, when you do koshi no hineri, you're not just protecting your back. You're protecting your breath, your mood, and your energy. But there's one movement Japanese elders do that almost no one in the West even thinks about anymore, and it's the one you probably stopped doing when you were a kid. That's number 2. Movement number 2 is called shigamu, or full squat sitting, and this is where people get nervous because they think squatting is hard or dangerous. But here's the truth. Japanese elders drop into a deep squat the way you sit in a chair. They do it to rest, to garden, to talk to a child, to pick something up off the floor. They spend cumulative hours every week in this position, and their hips, knees, and ankles stay mobile because of it. In the West, we stop squatting around age 10 or 12. We sit in chairs, we sit in cars, we sit on couches, and our joints forget how to fold all the way. That loss of range is what makes getting up from the floor impossible later. It's what makes you need a grab bar in the shower. It's what makes you dependent. Research on joint mobility and functional movement suggests that maintaining a full squat range of motion is linked to better independence in daily activities as people age. The squat is a test. If you can get into a full squat and stand back up without using your hands, you're strong and mobile. If you can't, you're losing ground. But the good news is you can get it back, even if you haven't squatted in decades. I met a woman named Carol, 69, former teacher, who fell in her bathroom trying to pick up a bottle of shampoo she'd knocked over. She couldn't get low enough to reach it without losing her balance, so she tipped forward and cracked her head on the tub. 3 stitches and a concussion later, she was determined to fix it. I started her on assisted squats using a countertop for support, just lowering herself a few inches and coming back up. Over 6 weeks, we got her lower and lower. By week 8, she could sit in a full squat for 10 seconds, holding the edge of the counter, and she cried when she realized she could get down on the floor to play with her grandkids again. Here's how to build toward it. Stand facing a counter or a sturdy table. Hold on to the edge with both hands. Place your feet slightly wider than hip width, toes pointed out about 30 degrees. Slowly bend your knees and hips, lowering yourself down as far as you comfortably can while keeping your heels on the ground. Don't worry about how low you go. Just go until you feel tension, then stand back up. Do that 5 times. If you can only go down a few inches, that's fine. Every day you do it, you'll go a little lower. If you can get all the way down into a deep squat, hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. Let your hips open. Let your knees track over your toes, and breathe. Some people's heels come off the ground at first because their ankles are too stiff. If that happens, put a rolled towel or a small book under your heels to give yourself a lift. As your ankles loosen, you can remove the lift. Don't rush it. The goal isn't to squat like you're 20. The goal is to keep your joints moving through their full range so you stay independent. Now, here's the piece that changes everything. Squatting isn't just about your legs. It's about your pelvic floor, your core, and your balance. When you squat, your pelvic floor has to stabilize you. Your core has to keep you upright. Your ankles, knees, hips, and spine all have to coordinate. It's a full system movement, and that's why it's so powerful. One movement maintains 6 joints and 3 muscle groups, but even if you do all 5 movements we've covered so far, there's one more that Japanese elders consider non-negotiable, and it's the shortest, quietest, and most overlooked movement on this list. It takes less than a minute, and it's the one that protects you from the thing that sends more people over 60 to the hospital than anything else. That's movement number 1. Movement number 1 is called katashi baransu, or single-leg balance, and Japanese elders do it while they wait, while they brush their teeth, while they wait for water to boil, while they stand in line at the store. They simply lift one foot off the ground and stand on the other leg for 20 to 30 seconds, then switch. It looks like nothing. It feels like nothing when you're young. But after 50, your balance degrades faster than almost any other physical capacity, and most people don't notice until they're already falling. Analyses from aging research centers indicate that poor balance is one of the strongest predictors of falls, and falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in people over 65. A fall doesn't just break a bone. It breaks confidence. It breaks independence. It starts a spiral that's hard to reverse. But balance is trainable. Your nervous system can learn to stabilize you again, no matter how long it's been since you felt steady. I worked with a man named Alan, 71, retired pilot, who stumbled getting out of bed one night and caught himself on the dresser. He wasn't hurt, but it scared him. He realized he couldn't stand on one leg for more than 3 seconds without wobbling. I had him practice single-leg balance every morning and every night, just 20 seconds on each leg, next to the bathroom sink so he could grab it if he needed to. The first week was shaky. The second week, he could do 15 seconds without touching anything. By week 4, he could stand for 30 seconds on each leg with his eyes closed, and he said it was like someone had turned the lights back on in his body. Here's the protocol. Stand next to a counter or a wall. Lift your right foot a few inches off the ground, bending your knee slightly. Keep your standing leg straight but not locked. Focus on a point on the wall in front of you. Hold for 20 seconds. If you wobble, touch the counter to steady yourself, then try again. Switch legs and do the same thing. That's one set. Do it twice a day. If 20 seconds feels too long, start with 10. If it feels easy, try closing your eyes, which makes it 10 times harder because you lose the visual cues your brain uses to balance. As you get stronger, you can add this into random moments in your day. Stand on one leg while you're waiting for your coffee. Stand on one leg while you're on the phone. Make it a habit, like checking your watch. The more you do it, the more your nervous system recalibrates, and the steadier you'll feel on stairs, on uneven ground, in the dark. Now, here's the thing that makes single-leg balance the most important movement on this list. It's not just about preventing falls. It's about brain health. Researchers have found that balance training activates the cerebellum, the part of your brain that coordinates movement and also engages the prefrontal cortex, the part that handles attention and decision-making. When you challenge your balance, you're not just training your legs. You're training your brain to process information faster and more accurately. You're keeping the wiring sharp. That's why people who maintain good balance tend to have better cognitive function as they age. The body and the brain are one system. When you train one, you train the other. So here's what the 6 movements look like when you put them together. Every morning, spend 5 minutes on radio taiso, the arm swings and twists and knee lifts that wake up your joints. Then do 20 high knee marches to strengthen your hip flexors. Walk to the bathroom on your toes to challenge your ankles and calves. Sit in a chair and do 5 torso rotations on each side to keep your spine mobile. Drop into a squat as low as you can, holding the counter, and hold it for 10 seconds. And finally, stand on one leg for 20 seconds, then switch. That's it. The whole sequence takes less than 10 minutes. You can break it up throughout the day if you want. You can do some in the morning and some in the evening. The structure doesn't matter. The consistency does. These aren't exercises. They're movement patterns that humans are designed to do every single day. And somewhere along the way, we stopped doing them. We started sitting more, standing less, walking on flat surfaces, getting in and out of chairs instead of getting down on the floor. Our bodies adapted to that, and the adaptation is what we call aging. But it's not inevitable. You can reverse it, or at least slow it way down, just by moving the way your body was built to move. Japanese elders don't do these movements because they're disciplined, or because they have more time. They do them because the movements are woven into the structure of their day. They're social. They're tied to rituals like morning radio broadcasts or gardening or playing with grandchildren. That's the secret. Don't treat these movements like a workout. Treat them like part of being awake, like brushing your teeth or making your bed, something you do because it's how you take care of yourself, not because someone told you to. And here's the last thing I'll say. You're not trying to get back to how you moved at 30. You're trying to keep what you have and build on it so you can still move at 80. That's the goal. Not perfection, not performance. Just the ability to get out of a chair without using your hands, to walk without fear, to pick something up off the floor, to turn your head and see what's behind you. These 6 movements give you that. They give you independence, and independence is everything. So let me ask you this, and I want you to drop your answer in the comments. Which one of these 6 movements are you going to try first, and why? What's the thing you've noticed getting harder that you want to fix? I'm reading everything you write, and I want to hear your story.